friends. Welcome to the Cookie Chat over here on YouTube. We are just two basic bakers letting loose and keeping it real. I am Chelsea with Rolling in the Dough AZ.
I'm Melissa with Missy P Sweets. We are so happy to have you guys here. If you guys have not already, go ahead and subscribe, turn the bell on. What am I missing?
Like
All those fun things.
comment below whatever you
Everything,
feel like doing.
all the things, guys, all the things. But yeah, you're in the right place if you are looking for a couple of bakers helping you make your business a success, particularly home-based businesses, but everywhere in between, anything small business related, we are here for you. And if you haven't already as well, go ahead and pop over and join us on Patreon. We have 3 tiers with just more content, freebies, discounts, all that amazing stuff, even some upcoming free episodes.
Yes. And if you don't know how to do that, there's a little down arrow. Go ahead and drop that down and you will find all the links, including the link to our social media, which we live on Instagram. Yes. So make sure that you are following us over there for all updates as well. And when our YouTube videos are going up, we always give extra content.
And all of our Patreon members, say hi to us in the comments.
Hey!
We want to see you guys over here. Drop us a line below.
And we are going to post a little list for a little shout out of our Patreon members because we appreciate you guys. Without you, Melissa and I would not be able to do this and be here because, we got side hustles too. We got full-time jobs, side hustles, whatever you want to call it. But speaking of side hustles, part of the side hustle eye roll annoyance, I guess, that people have is emails because we leave corporate America to not be bombarded with email after email.
It's true. And we've been asked this a lot. So guys, today we are tackling email communication. We've done this a little bit before, but if you have not already purchased or if you're not on tier 2, tier 3, where you got it for free, we have an entire email prompt and template handout available for purchase. So if you want to pop over and purchase it, grab it at the link down in the show notes or pop over to our website after and you can get it there. But yeah, we're going to dive in and tackle that today.
Do you feel like you have a lot of emails? Like, do you feel you're kind of chained to your emails a lot?
It depends on what I'm working on. So Chelsea and I both handle this similarly where we only open like 2 or 3 months of booking at a time when we're doing custom orders. That's where I get the onslaught of customers. And I really try and build into my schedule too, that week that I open it, that I don't have a super heavy week because I know it's going to be a lot of just managerial work.
Same.
Nowadays, because I'm not doing customs and it's more content and other stuff, it's more like it's a lot of fielding. No, I'm not taking custom orders. A lot of those emails and collaborations, which those are fun, but I'm not in as much of a regular swing of when I'm looking at emails as I was when it was more structured with the custom booking process. You are so good at this because you actually have structured admin days, which is so smart.
Oh yeah. Definitely on that. And I agree which I know is an annoyance to my customers, but if you are in the same boat, I just try and communicate. I communicate a lot through social media if you're new to our channel with my customers. And I post in my stories, which I'm about to post this week. So when you see this, it'll probably already be up, but I can let them know when the months are opening and I will constantly rotate that into my story and I'll add a countdown so it notifies them. So people will know what's coming. But I do the same thing. When I open it up, I make sure that I open it only on a Friday or Saturday, like a Friday night, because then I can get to those emails. And I also put a disclaimer on mine that please allow 72 hours for a response, not including holidays and weekends.
Yeah.
So then that way, because typically I hit them on Monday. If I pop on the weekend, it's just a bonus. And then I'll hit him again Friday. So that 72-hour window kind of covers me for those. And then anything else is just extra, like I said.
Yeah.
But definitely I think having that time keeps it from, I will pop in if there's an emergency, like I'll just scan real quick. But it definitely keeps it from feeling like it's a full-time job. because emails can be.
Totally. And they can be overwhelming. And I think it's such a delicate balance. There's a couple of things. One, and we preach this all the time, is train your customers from the get-go. Train them on what to expect from you from a communication standpoint, from a quality standpoint, from all of that. You really have to train them when to expect that custom orders are going to open, how you're going to handle those, all of that. It's about training them from the very beginning so that there's no miscommunication. And I think it's also a delicate balance of communicating just enough. You don't want to put out too many words or too many emails, but you also need to include all of that really valuable information and have it not be just one note blunt. So it's I feel like it's a really delicate balance. And you guys, Chelsea is such a master at this. And
thank you.
She actually loves admin stuff and emails.
Oh, you guys, if I ever stop doing cookies, literally my next would be like, I want to take over people's email responses.
Just be personal assistant.
100%. No, I literally would do that. Like I think it's because in corporate, I came from so many jobs that I remember leaving and I was like, oh my gosh, we started counting at my job prior to banking and it was like 400 emails a day because that's all we talked through.
Well, and also, we didn't have AIM and like, I mean, I had AIM.
Yeah. But like when you're in corporate, like now corporate structures have like their own internal type of communication.
Yes.
But I do recognize that email writing and drafting is a skill. It's something just like Melissa says with creativity is you find your voice in communicating. And some people are writers, some people are speakers, some people can write notes better than they can communicate face to face. So it's just the medium that you kind of use. And as Melissa has said, we have this template that you can totally tweak and just, again, put your voice in it. I think it's funny when people will read my emails and they're like, oh, I can hear you say this, like word for word.
Yeah.
So it is a skill. It is something that, again, just keep doing it and find what works for you. And you'll start to know your customers and like anticipate what's coming. So go ahead.
Totally. I was just going to say, we are going to go through some of these prompts, but really quickly, we want to show you guys, if you haven't downloaded the email template handout yet, we're going to throw up all the prompts that we answer in it, just so that you can see what all there is, because we're only going to go through a couple of them. So, okay. So those are all the prompts that are wonderfully answered, largely by Miss Chelsea, who is the pro at this. And we are going to go through a couple of those, but we wanted to talk about just some best practices and things to keep in mind before we get into more of those specific prompts. Okay, so responding to somebody in email or on a social media platform, it's your first interaction with this person. Most of these people, it's their first interaction with your brand. I mean, they might see it visually or be referred from a friend, but as far as how you are conducting yourself in your business, it's their first interaction with you. So just be thinking about that and think about, how do you want your brand represented? If you are going to train an employee to represent your brand for you, you need to be doing it first and foremost. So really taking time and being professional about it. If you're in a bad headspace to not answer something clearly or respectfully, then just acknowledging that maybe right then is not the time for you to answer something, or lean on your templates or your drafts or things that are saved in those moments. So that's something we really wanted to kind of kick this off with. Chelsea, anything to add to that?
If you guys buy our template and stuff, I kind of go into a little bit of explanation on this. I'm just going to high level. When formulating emails, I understand we all have those emails that are just annoyances that you're like, seriously, come at it from a place of educating your customer versus reacting. Because when we react like, oh yeah, I'm so offended by this, it's going to come across in your writing. So like Melissa said, take that time back and just think, okay, maybe they don't know. So let me take the time to educate them, because once you know better, you do better.
Mhm.
So I always try and keep that, even though sometimes I'm like when people ask me, I need a custom cake. I'm like, I don't do cakes. No one does cakes. I don't come at it in that sense. So think of formulating your responses from educating. So that might be helpful when putting these
Yes.
together.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's also important to be personable. I mean, most of us
Yeah.
are one person shows. So the glory of it is that we are small businesses. We are not a corporation. So
Mhm.
there's a level from the corporate side of professionalism. But there's also, I mean, you want them to get to know you. They're paying for you, the artist. So also being able to show some of your personality is great. That's wonderful. You should be doing that. But
You can't
just
use too many
from
exclamation points. Corporate's like
yeah.
2 per paragraph, and
Yeah.
this Chelsea leans on them as I'm speaking
Uh-huh.
third person.
Yeah. And I mean, even writing, I'm in Texas, I say y'all, you see me write y'all in my stories. I use slang for how I sound in person. So I'll
I
even
use smiley
include
faces.
yeah. So showing personality is wonderful. Here is what we would add to that is a formula for thinking about your responses, particularly email. Instagram, a lot of times it's more shorthand.
Mhm.
But if you're looking at an email, some people call this a compliment sandwich. You can call it whatever you want, but it's something that's very commonly taught in corporate world. Is if you are going to talk to somebody, and not particularly if it's negative, but like let's think about it if it's oh goodness, it was it was a Melissa earthquake.
I mean,
If
you
you
are in Texas. You're like tornado
I
central
know,
right
right? I know
now.
we
My
dodged a
goodness.
tornado last night, guys. Crazy.
Look at y'all.
So anyway, so say you have to deliver like not great news, okay? You want to start with good news or
This is
like
such a millennial response,
I know,
everybody.
but it's true, right? Like you want to
Oh,
start with
yeah.
the thing that's great. So if you're in corporate world and say you're emailing, somebody who is reporting to you and they mess something up, right? What you're going to do is call out these wonderful, like you want to pump them up. You want to be like, wow, I see that you really like did X, Y, Z here. That's great. And then you go into the meat of what you really want. I feel like this is also a very Southern.
This is 100%, 100%. And we do want to say we recognize that things have shifted and changed. So people's approaches to this
Yeah.
sometimes are not this. But it's
Yes.
just if you really need help and you need a formula to start, this is a great starting point for
Right.
it.
Because I feel like a lot of times people are like, I don't even know where to start with an email. Like,
Right.
what do I
Think of
say
Melissa's
back?
Southern charm.
Yeah. So just open it up with something personable, something positive, a personal response to something that was asked or something, and then get into the meat and potatoes. So in the corporate response, it would be here's where things went wrong. Here's what we need to fix. And then you close it up with, again, something personal or positive or even like a direct action. So there's
Yes.
neat, and then there's like, here's like the next step. And then your salutation. So opener, personal, friendly, joyful, whatever, a way to connect, meat and potatoes of what you need to get across or need from them or your answer to whatever, and then a personal closing.
Yeah.
That's your quick structure.
I am going to date myself. I was on TikTok and apparently best is very passive aggressive now, like as a sign off.
Oh.
I was like, what? Best? How can you take that in any other way? So yeah, they're like, please avoid using best.
What's the Schitt's Creek one? It's
I don't
not
know.
best wishes. What do they say?
Warmest regards.
Warm regards. Warmest regards.
Love that journey for you.
I know.
So I'm going to
No,
sign
no
everything
problem.
now. But I thought that was very interesting.
That's
so.
interesting.
I
did not
know.
know that either. Now
Yeah, I'm over here like
again.
second guessing everything. So don't visit the TikToks.
Yeah. The TikToks.
I actually avoid that platform, funny enough. Once in a blue moon, but
That's too
awesome. All right.
funny.
Well, we're going to dive into these emails and just kind of give you guys a little tease of what to expect.
If you
Again,
have not already dived into these. Okay, so, oh, I got to get to my notes. They're all over the place.
professionals, y'all.
Okay,
Professionals.
we're here. We even rehearsed this. Okay, are you ready, Miss
This
Chelsea?
is, guys, this is how Melissa and I are coworkers. And you know, when you have to present a project, that's Melissa and I on this.
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa.
Okay, guys, so imagine, if you will, I'm just one of Rolling in the Dough AZ's customers here. Are we
Fabulous
ready?
customers, the best in the land.
Okay, so I'm just typing Miss Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. We are so excited for my daughter's upcoming birthday party. I can't wait for this wonderful and colorful theme. You're going to love it. She is obsessed with LOL dolls, and we only need a dozen because it's just a small party. But we would like all 50 LOL dolls represented in the 12 cookies. Please let me know how much and how to move forward. Thank you.
The initial email response, like I feel like they're the real life versus it's like no. On this one.
Chelsea, could you please read your beautiful response to this customer?
Certainly. Hi, Melissa. Wow, what an awesome set. I'm sure cookies like this will certainly elevate your event. After looking at the information you sent over, I feel I am not the cookier that can do this set justice. These themes tend to lean a little bit out of my wheelhouse or your comfortability level, whatever you prefer. I want you to have the best birthday. I have included a few cookiers in the area that can certainly bring this theme to life. I wish you the best at your event. Cannot wait to see their work in your photos.
Round of applause, Miss
Thank you.
Chelsea.
Thank you.
What a wonderful response. Okay, so the first thing that you will notice is that we didn't use a simple, I'm so sorry, but I am booked. I wish you a wonderful birthday.
Do not apologize.
Yeah,
Do not say, "I'm so
you don't
sorry."
need to apologize at all. It's wonderful that you're booked, and it actually creates even more anticipation and buzz, I feel like, for businesses. The reason that we didn't use that in this is because we wanted to show you an alternate response. Saying you're booked is absolutely a go-to response if you do not want to accept that theme. You have right of refusal to anything that you do not want to create. This is your business. So using the phrase "I am booked" is completely acceptable. We do have that template as well in our handout. But this was a response in case it's something where it's months out and they know for sure that you're not booked, or they're seeing you take your friends theme, or even maybe they're looking for multiple birthdays. Maybe they're doing like your dream theme in one event, but the other event is so like, no, like off. So this is for those situations. So I loved how you phrased this, Chelsea. And this is, I think it's so smart. You're not putting it on them and saying, I don't like your theme, or I don't like what you're doing.
Those are forbidden on my list.
You're taking the ownership that maybe it's on you. It's not on them. And I love that. I think that's a wonderful tactic to do in this. And also want to call out the concept of having other cookiers ready and to provide. And can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is something I do. This is pretty much taken straight from my emails. I do this at the beginning of the year, the season. I'll reevaluate depending, for example, one of my cookie referrals is moving. So I'll reopen it in the area. But it's people that I'm personally friends with that I love their work. Some of them I've even like had their cookies and taste tested them that way. We all have our little niche in our area, I feel like, of our group of people located. And if I'm going to not accept a set, I always want to be able to provide somebody else. I am not going to go hunting down and make sure they have availability, but I do collect a list and I ask them, what is the way you prefer your custom orders to come in, whether it be a website or email. So at the beginning of the season, I create a draft and I put like whomever it might be, their name, like their handle, their name, and then their website or email, however they prefer. And then I'll just copy and paste that over into this email. And I do put a disclaimer on it saying this pricing is subjected to this artist as well as their availability. This is just another avenue for you to reach out to, but I really feel like they could execute this design. So if I got somebody who was like, I want beautiful pastels and a super detailed mermaid set and it's just everything. And Melissa's my neighbor. I was like, hey girl, I'm like teetering on this one, but this is totally your wheelhouse. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on if I have time. I can always heads up that person. Most of the time I don't. I just copy and paste.
I'm sure they're going to be like, wow, Chelsea, thank you so much for the 50 LOL dolls.
I know, right? We do have, to call it out, we do have a character specific prompt.
We do. We have that prompt as well, as you guys saw on our screen earlier. So we do tackle how to do that too. But let us know in the comments below if these are particular emails that you have received. I would also say 9 times out of 10, for me personally, if I have a situation where I tell somebody I'm booked or not taking customs, I will get the response, wonderful. Is there anybody that you can recommend? So already including who you would recommend, it's just going to eliminate back and forth for you.
Yes.
For me, I also absolutely recommend people, and I try and recommend people who have the same aesthetic as me with cookies, because I feel like that's probably why this customer is coming to me, because they like my style of cookies or something like that. So that's who I try to recommend. I've realized recently, especially because I'm not taking customs, that I keep recommending somebody. I'm like, I still have not had their cookies. So I'm going to try and get on her, like buy some of her pre-sales. So that's a great way to, one, just meet other cookiers, is go to their porch pop-up or get some of their pre-sale cookies. But it's a good idea to do that so that you like for sure know the taste and like that you're recommending somebody that you would want.
Yes. And I mean, support your friends.
Yeah.
And all of that fun stuff. I will say in using this response, 9 out of 10 times the response back is, wow, thank you so much for taking that into consideration. I really appreciate that you provided somebody else, or thank you for recognizing this. I think only once I've gotten an email of like, no, I think you can do it. But you really can't argue somebody's skill level or comfortability. So it's not like saying, if you say you're booked and somebody's like, oh, your website says you are, or so-and-so, you took an order from so-and-so, or you just posted, being like, but I think your skill set can. It's like, yeah, but I'm not going to execute what you're providing. Like, it's not going to be what you have envisioned. And again, like Melissa said, take back the ownership of it and say, yeah, but I don't want that to affect your party. I want you to have the best of the best. So
yeah. And if it's something that's going to stress you out beyond belief, I always say you're passing on either a person who's not really your customer because they're not wanting to pay your prices, which is fine, but you're opening that door to somebody who is your actual customer. And I think in these situations, you're passing on a set that would stress you out more than it would be worth in order to open space for the sets that you love to do, or even just like investing in yourself, taking a class or doing something else. So,
well, and it's interesting. Melissa and I have spoken about this prior, is sets that stress Melissa out or like that she will decline. I'm like, give me them. Sets that stress me out and I would decline. Melissa is like all over that.
Chelsea knows. She'll send me her inspiration ones that she knows I'm going to be like,
I know. I'm like, look what theme I got. But yeah, like
color all the things.
I know, like sports and stuff like that for Melissa is, and I don't want to speak for you, but
it's just that's not going to be on my list of things I need to do.
I know, and give me all the sports. Like if you could give me a Friday Night Lights football theme,
that would actually be fun.
My gosh, not just a generic football, like a team, but just like, Yes.
Yeah.
So there are things. So you never know what people are going to take and pass on. So
Yeah.
this is just something that can move you to the next level, help out another cookier, and kind of build your little cookie community.
Yeah.
You
All
ready for
right.
the
This
next one?
next one, yeah, this is huge. We really wanted to tackle this because this is a very big topic right now. So back into my Chelsea customer mode. Hi, Chelsea. I just received your quote and I noticed that these are a little bit more expensive than last time. Just wanted to double check that it's not a typo.
Happy New Year's. With the hustle and bustle of the New Year excitement, I wanted to bring attention to a few changes within my business. As many of you know, I've been creating cookie masterpieces for 6 years now. I've seen many changes within the industry, and the popularity of this cookie craze has risen. With that, so have my skill levels. Moving forward, my new pricing will be blank a dozen. I thank you for being here on this journey. I hope to still connect and be a part of your fantastic events. It brings me so much joy to see my work in the memories of these monumental celebrations. I appreciate you supporting me and trusting me with your creations.
Yay!
Snaps!
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Again, I think it's part of just, well, one, your compliment sandwich. Beautiful. Beautiful
Thank you.
work.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
work.
I built
And I
that. I
hope that
built
you
that
guys
one
are,
up.
I know, I hope you guys are seeing kind of like the flow of how these are structured. But I think also this time of year, and especially with how the cost of goods and everything,
Mhm.
I think that's an easy place too that you can even elaborate on. I don't think you need to go into specifics of like last year butter was this much and
Oh,
now
yeah,
it's
no.
this much. We don't need to get into those specifics, but it can even be something of relating to them. Of you may have noticed grocery shopping that your bills are a lot higher. The same is applying for all of my ingredients to make these things, and because and I know too right now some people are doing increases, and I forget what it is that they're calling them, because they might just be temporary until prices come back down. But God, I don't know that inflation's necessarily going to go that much down. So but yeah, those are, I think that that's an area that you can easily elaborate on too if you're wanting to gear it more towards like these are the cost of goods going up.
Yeah, there's sentences that are easily interchangeable, but at
Mhm.
least you'll have like a structural format that you can change.
Yeah.
And just like Melissa said, don't go into detail because it just like when the more detail you give as far as like the comparison of butter prices that Melissa used is it leaves more room for them to argue and go back and forth. So if you are taking ownership and pride and like cut and dry, this is why is
Mhm.
the cost of ingredients have gone up. And as a business owner, I am also absorbing that. In that, I need to reflect this in my pricing so that I am able to stay afloat in business and create these wonderful masterpieces for you.
Yeah.
So if you put it back on you, like I am absorbing them, I have this cost, I have to make sure that I can still do this. There's
Yeah.
no
And
blame.
also getting into the nitty gritty of it, it's like you don't need to justify that
Mm-mm.
much as to raising prices. Like, no, it like you deserve to raise the prices.
I've had people come and say that. Like when I started with you, whoa,
My gosh.
Melissa is
The
bumping and a
Melissa
shaking up in
tornado.
here. I've had people argue like, hey, when I started with you, when I first started, I was at 18,000, like my first year. And they were like, you were at $18 a dozen and now you're this much. It's like, well, yeah, but 6 years in your business, would you want to be being paid the same? Like
Oh
that was
yeah.
when I was building my skill set. So there is a sting anytime someone goes for, I feel like your pricing, especially or your creative work, we're inviting these people into our home being our email, our website, our business. And if somebody walks into your home and is like, I don't like the way you decorate, you're like, instant offense to it.
Yeah.
So try and take that out and say, this is nothing personal. This is business. So it is a very hard line sometimes to teeter on because again, we are our business.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes very hard. But keeping that in mind is what would a business response be versus what would my personal response can help when it comes to combating pricing.
Absolutely. And I think knowing your numbers too, it
Mm-hmm.
can give you the confidence to
Don't
make
tell
those
anybody your
decisions.
numbers, you guys.
Yeah, no.
I've seen that before. Somebody was like, I told my customers that it cost me this much. I'm like, don't tell
Don't
them
do
that.
that, but know them for yourself. And if you
Yeah.
didn't watch our previous episodes on pricing or get our product pricing guide and watch that episode,
Yeah.
you can snag that. We'll leave that in the comments below. But if you have not redone that and
Mhm.
like reanalyzed your numbers lately, it's time to. Inflation has gone crazy. So it's really time to evaluate all of that and just make sure that you yourself have to be confident in it, because if there is pushback, then you need to know what you're talking about, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So those are our two prompts that we really want to get into, but there are a couple of more that we're not going to give you our specific templates for, but we did want to touch on.
Mhm.
One of those being eliminating back and forth. There can be so much back and forth. And I know when I first started, there wasn't a cookie chat out there to tell me what do I need to include on my order forms and like how do I even go about this. So I was flying in the dark, and I felt like every time I was getting an order, I was learning another thing that I should be putting on there, and another thing and another thing, and
Mhm.
disclaimers to have, a refund policy, all of those things. So Chelsea and I preached from the beginning. You can do it as an Instagram story. You can do it as a Google form, but get yourself an order form that is as detailed as it can be.
Mhm.
And truly get that in a good place. And we also include a flow of how to go about, like once you get those order forms in, how to eliminate so much back and forth, what to include in what communications, so that also the less communication back and forth that you have, the more likely that you're going to get the gig. Just
Yes.
a little
And
tip.
you're not being paid for your emails at this point because there is no orders. So the more
Mhm.
time you're wasting, time is money when it comes to your business. So having a clear cut, here's how it goes, really helps.
Yes.
My custom order form is always live on my website. I welcome you guys to go check it out, steal what you need to steal from it. I do not use Google Form. I have mine built into my website, so I am not a Google Form pro on it. But back in the day when I first started, I used Facebook, and people
Mhm.
messaged me through Facebook. And when they did, I already had in my notes app saved all the questions that I needed answered and would just send it on over to them. Like, hey, can you
Yeah.
answer all these questions for me? With that being said, when Melissa was addressing, we've learned through errors. That's when you learn the most in your business. We can give
Totally.
you all of these things, but there's still going to be a time when you get to a customer response that you haven't had before, an issue. I feel like those are the times that you remember the most. You're like, not doing that again. If you're always
Mhm.
succeeding and just never running into any pushback, you tend not to grow as a person. So anytime things get uncomfortable, take that as, you know what, I've learned something. And that's what
Yes.
business is about. None of us have the master list on how to succeed. So
Totally.
I just can't
Totally.
imagine life without cookie chat.
I mean, right? There's
The amount
I'm
of
so jealous.
Googling.
I'm so jealous of our followers.
I know. I'm so
Um,
jealous of the people that are first starting out that
and guys, let us
we get
know
this.
too in the comments if it would be helpful to have a shorter video that's
Mhm.
just a tutorial on how to create a Google form.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that could be really good.
yeah, I did Google Forms, and we can do one that is a Google form for custom orders, and we can do one that's Google form for your pre-sales, because I started out that way too.
Mhm.
So let us know in the comments if you guys want that.
Love it. Love it.
So the last one we wanted to touch on, and I like touching on this because when Chelsea and I were kind of going through all of our notes, we have such different, well, it's just our businesses are structured really
Mhm.
differently. And so what we are able to like do and not do, it just cracks us up. We're like, you do that, I wouldn't do that.
I know.
So we love that we can give you guys these different perspectives too.
Yes.
So this one is how to quote when there aren't inspiration pics
Mhm.
provided. So there's a couple of ways to go about responding with this. You can flat out just ask for more inspiration. And it's as simple as, this is such a wonderful theme. I'm excited for this. In order to give you the most accurate quote, is there some sort of inspiration and invitation that you like, or a picture on Pinterest, anything that could help me quote it the most accurate for you? That's one way to respond. Something that I do a lot, and Chelsea's like, girl, I don't got time for that.
I will add to Melissa's first part in a sec. Go ahead with yours.
Go ahead, add.
So on that, the reason why, and that is something that I do, is I will ask for more inspiration if I can't get it from their description. Also, learn from my mistakes. People interpret things night and day. So I always lead with, back on me, I want to make sure that I am understanding your style and your aesthetic so I can deliver you the best cookie work.
Sure.
Boho to people are like all over the board. I was telling Melissa before this, boho is like the new modern phrase. When people are like, oh, I want modern decor. I'm like, that's not modern. That's this. That's why I feel like boho is becoming, because I had 3 different orders that all were boho. One was bright colored boho. One was like so simplistic, which was true boho type looking. And then others was like, I just want white and gold boho. Like, and it was like just one in gold. I'm like, that's not boho. So
yeah.
That is where I will say, send me something just so I can see where you're going with this. Take it away.
I honestly, piggybacking off of that, I had a very similar thing happen. I have an upcoming set that is kind of like Daisy's wildflower sort of thing. And she sent me inspiration. It's beautiful. It's cookiers that I know and I adore is, of course, the inspiration. And I sent her some pictures of additional like things that I had in mind or past sets that I've done. And if you guys know me, I love to do like super detailed stuff and like fill that cookie with like all kinds of stuff. And her aesthetic is very much more, she loves the pulled back, more minimal style. And so she's like, I really prefer this aesthetic. And that's more what I'm going for. And so I was very happy that I like honed in on that and confirmed that, because I would have like gone off into this like crazy detailed where I wouldn't have needed to too. Like I'm saving myself time. Not that honestly, minimal is not easy.
Minimal is so hard for me because
you can't like cover it up with the flower.
Yes. Oh my gosh. When people give me minimal, sometimes I'm like,
I know you have to concentrate so hard.
Yeah.
So,
and
anyway,
they're like, it's an easier set.
Yeah. So I agree. Things can be interpreted very differently. Now, if it's a situation where they're truly like creative freedom, do whatever. What I tend to do is I will find inspiration pictures, and I don't do inspiration pictures from other cookiers. I might take an inspiration from like a past set that I've done and been like, I want to elaborate on this. But when I'm talking inspiration, I tend to look at paintings, like artwork, or home decor, or invitations. I love invitations. And so I will find something that connects with me that I'm excited about doing. And I will send that to them and say, is this in the realm of something that you would like to do? And so if we're talking specifically about pricing, I would say 2 ways to approach it. One, if I send that inspiration pic and they're like, yes, I love that, then I personally would know how to quote from that, because I can go off of that and do what I need to do. If I'm not doing that, and if you don't have time to go search for inspiration pics on your own, get it. Another recommendation would be give them 2 tiered pricing options. One is, this is going to be basic, very minimal amounts of colors, whatever your basic pricing is. And then say, or if you want one to be really like done up and a bunch of different detail work and things like that, here's my pricing for that. And maybe include past sets that, kind of show them examples of that. And do that at the same time. It eliminates the back and forth. So you give them the options, they choose the option. Or you give them the inspo, it's a yes or no. So that's something where Chelsea's like, I can't go searching for all that stuff.
Not at all. And that's where it differs. And this is where we're saying, like, again, Melissa, being part-time, you have that luxury to do that?
Yeah, that's like, guys, I was taking, like, when I was doing customs, I was taking maybe 3, maybe 4. 4 was pushing it for me, orders a week. Chelsea does how many orders in a week generally?
I've cut back. It's 21 is
Yeah.
typically my dozens now. So that can be broken up. Sometimes that's 8 people, depending if like it's a wedding or some large order. The most I've dealt with in 1 week is 17 different customers. So trying to
So
manage
much.
17 different customers, and I'm like, I cannot go digging. If they ask a specific question, but adding to what Melissa on mine because of that is, again, time. I got to keep it going. Is I will send them my medium price and be like, if you, and I want to clarify, I get creative freedom on this. Here's your color scheme. Here's a median price, because if I choose to go more elaborate, then that's on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, at least I know I'm going to hit your theme at this price.
Yeah.
Something else, just want to add in real quick too, as far as if you're not getting inspo pictures, when it comes to weddings or bridals, another point of clarification would be color scheme. Sage green, steel blue are 2 totally different colors to people that I've learned. So I always ask people when it comes to a wedding or bridal, if it's a color, I'm like, what are you meaning by this? Send me your color palette.
Yeah.
They typically have it because they've been dealing with it for their wedding.
Florals and everything.
Yeah. Or their wedding bouquets. A lot of people will send that over. And I'm like, if these are the colors you want to pull from. Sage green, people are using that again, intertwining.
I love a sage green.
I do too, but sage to some people is like mute, almost like a mint, like a muted mint green. And then other people are now saying sage green for like olive.
Yeah.
So I try and ask them for the colors.
See how there could be variant there.
Yeah. And blush is another one. I know some people use blush and rose gold interchangeably. And I'm like, 2 totally different colors. So
those are 2 of my favorite AmeriColor gel colors.
I know they're mine too, but I'm like, I just want to make sure like this and my backdrop are 2 totally different pinks. So if you just ask for a color scheme, or if they're not going to send inspo and they're like, I just want it boho, modern boho. Okay. Can you at least send me a color palette that I can work off of? And I would love to create something for you.
Yeah.
So it's just, you'll find what works for you and how your mind can see.
Yes.
That's, so I love it. Well, that kind of wraps up our email communications.
Yay.
We hope that this was helpful for you guys, and you're finding value in this, because again, your email is where it all starts. That's response.
Right.
It's how you get the pathway to the custom orders. So
that's right. And guys, if you have downloaded it and you're seeing or you're wanting more of these and you have additional ideas on prompts, drop in the comments below. Join our Patreon, because we really form a lot of these handouts based on feedback from our Patreon. Yeah. So you can join Patreon or hit us up on Instagram. Let us know. We love creating these for you guys.
We do. They're fun. Again, this is my wheelhouse. Maybe one day I will become a personal assistant and answer.
Can you be the Cookie Chat's personal assistant? Oh, wait.
100%. If I pay me. Just kidding. Yes, that would be, I love it. So we hope you all have a wonderful day, starting off your week fabulous. With that being said, I am Chelsea with Rolling in the Dough AZ.
I'm Melissa with Missy P Sweets. May your cakes never be dry.
And your icing be shiny and crater free. Have a wonderful week, guys.
Bye.